20 years ago, brothers Darren and Mark Scales left the cinema so excited by films like Ghostbusters and the Indiana Jones movies that they decided to copy them using a camcorder that their mum hired for the week because the family couldn't afford to buy one then. The initial results were awful, but they stuck at it, and now they're coming up with really incredible stuff.
The item was meant to be about 5 or 6 minutes, I think, but it was going so well, and the boys obviously got on very well with Richard and Judy, who were obviously interested in what the boys had to say. The item got extended to 7-8 minutes. And obviously in a live TV show on Channel 4, which has only got 40 minutes to play with, that's a fairly rare thing, which is usually reserved for celebrity guests.
Well, are you the older brother?
I am, thank you. Yeah, I affectionately referred to as the executive bully within Backyard Productions, because I tend to do a lot of shouting and stuff to make sure things get done.
Is it just a hobby, or would you secretly really like to go out and make epic movies?
No, I don't think so. No. Never make your hobby your work, I think. We get the choice to make what we want to do and have fun doing it, and Backyard Productions is about making filmmaking fun, and we really enjoy what we're doing and then want to stick to doing that.
I think that's the big difference between, say, fan films in the industry, is that fan films, you can do what exactly you want, and no one is going to pull you up on that. You know, you are a law unto yourself to a certain degree if no one sues you.
George Lucas has said it's okay. On the various rules of, you know, no profit, not even cover production costs, use the music, you got to say, you know, credit to John Williams in the film and all that kind of stuff.
There are different responses from figures within from the industry, and I think some of them are running scared and they're trying to close down this kind of activity so that there's actions against fan sites and so on.
I mean, other major films, people have wanted to make them like the Harry Potter ones and everything, and Warner Brothers have said no. So there's the difference there. It's all a matter of whether you're allowed to or not.
Others are recognising that this is not going to go away, and that in actual fact they may be able to exploit this as a kind of a pool, as a kind of a farm that they can encourage, and actually now and again they can pluck some of the best talents from it and take them into the fold, and I think that's already happening in some cases.
Mainstream media has become more accepting of smaller productions as well. You know, independent films are becoming more popular.
Whatever the response is at the moment, they need to get wise to the fact that it's not going to go away.
Well, listen, congratulations. What's your next project?
We're working on another Star Wars film.
All right.
So, obviously with Episode 3.
How I got to hear about Backyard Productions was through my mother-in-law, and she said there's this company that's just been on Richard and Judy that are making a Star Wars film. They'd made one in the past, and there was talk of making another one.
They were going back to Star Wars. Now, as a big Star Wars fan, that was a big plus for me. I really was looking forward to that. But also a bit of, you know, I was interested in films myself and filmmaking, and then suddenly there was this opportunity to not only know that they were working on CKy, but the ability to go and have a look and see what they were working on and how they were putting it together.
Coming onto the set for the first time, as it was being built, I didn't know what to expect, because though I'd seen their stuff before, I didn't, know exactly how big they were going to do it this time.
We'll let them have a look round the set, see what you think. Had a look round the set, a few bars of scaffolding round, and bits of plywood here and there. But Daz was explaining to me and all his enthusiasm what's going where and what's going to be. This is going to be the Death Star. This is going to be this set.
We'd gone upstairs. He took us through where they were setting all the costumes up. And already you could see, wow, okay, they've actually got a wardrobe set. As most fan films, it's in a bag and they're like, here you go.
Got into this large room that was filled with scaffolding and a great big platform and a huge window where a green screen was going to be. It was impressive, the amount of people who were there working. It was not something I'd ever imagined would happen.
Unfortunately, we have to earn a living as well, which interferes a hell of a lot. We're 200 miles apart, and from where a lot of the filming base sort of comes in, and sometimes it gets really frustrating that I can't come up and do a lot more work than I want to.
I say it's such a great atmosphere. People were clearly working hard. It wasn't. People weren't sitting around going, oh, I can't be bothered to do this today, because there was so much to do, but people were enjoying the fact that they were working on it.
I'm teaching him.
Get on your work. Go and do some work.
We were extras, and we played clone troopers, and we all had to burst through this doorway, and it was actually quite magic on being on set, because if you stand in the middle, you look sort of one way, you see set, you look the other way, you see set, and just for a moment you could believe you were actually aboard a spaceship.
In you come fire and die, sit, that's good, and 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, working on The Emperor's New Clones was very different to my own fan film. Rather than sort of spend 20 minutes in front of the camera laughing and just making stuff up, there was a need to stick to what was needed so that you could get on to the next shot. And there's one scene where there were pyrotechnics involved, and so if that went wrong, it would be difficult to stage it too many times again. So you've got to get it right. When you've got so many involved, there's so many more chances of things to go wrong.
Hang on! 1, 2, 3, punch it!
During the production of the film, my dad said and asked me if I could come back just to do some voiceovers. And then I'd come up to Daz's and I'd walk through the room and I'd see like lots and lots of monitors around, and there'd be lads sat at every monitor, and just the amount of work that they had to do, to just get this film fit. My little part was just a tiny little part of it. And they'd have like 15 monitors. Them lads at Backyard Productions, they even had cardboard boxes with wires coming out of them that were actually computers inside the cardboard boxes.
How's that for external storage?
Post-production was fairly intense. With this, it was very immediately pressure and schedule to stick to. Then it really got industrial. Way beyond the amount of work I'd ever done for my own film. Darren would give me a sort of a diagram of a shot with some lines going here, and I'd do a shot and I'd think, yeah, I think that looks pretty good, and then Darren would come along and say, no, redo it. And I learned a tremendous amount in special effects, in being pushed that hard.
Now, George Lucas told us that Revenge of the Sith would be the last Star Wars film, but it seems fans of the movies had other ideas and are making their own sequels.
Indeed, the latest is The Emperor's New Clones.
The Emperor's New Clones.
The Emperor's New Clones.
Scores of keen moviegoers converged in our region as it hosted the world premiere of the latest Star Wars film.
Not quite Hollywood, but then this isn't quite Star Wars. Nevertheless, filmmakers, stars and fans all eagerly gathered to see this latest sci-fi epic get its big screen debut.
When it came to the premiere of the film, to me it was a big Hollywood premiere, and we all got dressed up, we all had these nice clothes, and I had a tuxedo on, the lad had a tuxedo on.
To the cast and crew here, this is your film. You all gave 110%. Ladies and gentlemen, the world charity premiere of Star Wars Episode 3, The Emperor's New Clones.
The good part that I'll always take away from my experience is the film's fantastic, the film's brilliant, being all part of it is good, but that summer me and my son spent most of the summer together, and that is something that I valued a lot, being with my son, just me and him together, going off on this crazy scheme, as it were, to going off and doing this film. It was just the whole experience. It was a good time for me and my lad. We bonded a lot during that period.
Freeze, dirtbag.
Dying was fun, because the clone troopers, when they come across Jedis, they tend to die very rapidly. Thankfully, that was added in post-production, and I sustained no real injury.
Not only have they made a film, they've made it for £3,000, which, but the film is not, their little sister or their little brother in a wig running around the park with a plastic sword. It's a film with proper production values, with a proper script, with proper jokes, with proper special effects, with proper editing. For £3,000, which is what they spent on their film, all I've got was probably that table, which cost the same amount of money.